sing joy.
Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, hail thee as the Son above. The clouds of sin and sadness drive the dark of doubt away, driving away, giver of immortal gladness. Fill us with the light of day, the light of day. Come and join,
Everyone sing.
come join the chorus, the mighty, mighty chorus, which the morning star began. The Father of love is reigning o'er us. He watches over everything. So we sing joyful, joyful Lord, we adore thee. Drive the dark of doubt away. Watch unfold like flowers before thee. Fill us with the light of your fear. Fill us, oh, we need you, yes we do. Fill us with the light of the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Fill us with the light of day. Fill us, Lord, fill us with the light of day. The light of day.
So the gold medal hour is about all of you. So the question is, what do we want to know? What do we want to know about signature, our process? What do we want to know about music, how we approach it? What do we want to take out of this time together?
When you talk about interpretation of the song, do you do that before every time you sing the song, or you know you're going to sing the song, or do you just talk about that when you're learning the song? Does that make sense?
So musical interpretation. That's a good question. So what is our approach to musical interpretation? Do we know? I feel like with signature, we kind of know our inter before we start singing it.
Yeah, we talk about
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to understand what we're singing about first, and then that lead us down where our interpretation is going to be. You know, the coaches we've used in the past, George Gibb was the coach that we used. He allowed us to just be as organic as we can be when it came to interpretation. So we tend to just find, you know, places in the song, places in the music where we feel that we can make it come alive as organic as we can. So, yeah, that's.
Well, we pick a lot of songs that we like to dance to and bop to, and you know that we. Yeah, that's a bop there. You know what I'm saying? We like it. We like
For the
to
record,
sing.
we've never used the word bop before. This is
Cool
the
and
first
vibey.
time.
It's cool and vibey. Yeah, if it's cool and vibey, you're gonna do
It's
it.
gonna bop, yeah.
But how much of that is the lead, and how much input do the other three parts have in that?
I think there's a lot of input. I think ultimately the arc of the song comes through Daniel, ultimately how he wants to interpret it. And that means when we get an arrangement from our arrangers, which are 57 pages, 1,000 measures, and we cut it down to something appropriate like 3 pages and maybe, we do that often. We do that often because we're conscious of the fact is we only have a certain amount of time to connect with the audience and the message that we want to tell in any song. So if it was 5 minutes, we'll cut it down to 2.5 like we did with Joyful Joyful, for example. That used to be much longer. We cut it down just because we're like, we wanted to hit certain parts from the movie, that comes from Sister Act 2, if anybody's seen the movie. That's why we sing the song. And there's a lot of iconic pieces that we wanted to make sure we hit that are in the arrangement, and we just figured, let's cut everything else out, because the truth is, sometimes it becomes about ego. Sometimes are you singing this for the audience and connection, or you're singing this just because I want to sing a 12-minute ballad, right? Because ultimately, we're only going to connect as much as we connect. And there are going to be times within that 12 minutes that there's nothing that we could do to get you to engage, just because we get fatigued in the message or we get disconnected or whatever the case is. So we'll spend a lot of time through Daniel, how do you want to deliver this? And then I think Paul, Dan, and I will decipher as a trio, or as the pips for Daniel, or the harmony parts, or the symphony, how do we create around to give Daniel as much freedom as possible?
Yeah, I'm normally just doing whatever the hell I want to. Anyways. I mean, you know, I mean, in all
We
honesty,
listen to the same type of music.
we do.
I think when we were coaching, and some of the guys who said, oh, I was with Will or whatever, we say a lot of the same. Yeah, no, I don't need it either. I speak plenty loud, okay?
Can anybody hear Paul back there?
No.
Very well.
That's better.
Now
Okay, I
everybody
have
has
to
to use
switch.
it. Everybody has to use it now. Okay. But we all listen to the same type of music. We spend a lot of time in the same musical space. I mean, when you have that, it makes it easier for the interpretation to kind of come together. It's like when you put songs together for international, and we're thinking about Tina Turner, Think Respect. Well, my mom's been playing that in the house Saturday morning. Get the broom. We're gonna clean the house now. You know, I mean, it's a cultural thing. So like, exactly. So, Daniel. Yes, you do. Yes, because you just go off in your majestic land, and we just try to keep up. No.
No, we definitely, it's important. I think that was something we talked about in my lead class I had today, just the connection to the music and making sure that we
You gotta like what you sing.
We like what we sing. You know, there's a buy-in in what we sing, but there's also, we believe in what we sing too as well too. So it definitely helps inform us on some of the things that we do. And a lot of it is very organic. I mean, I've watched some of our recordings, and it's just so cool to see when these two guys on the outside match up on something that they're doing, and we didn't plan it. It just kind of just happens. So yeah.
That comes with trust, right? Trust in the ensemble, trusting each other to do the right thing, and then ultimately that comes with responsibility. You showing up as your portion of the ensemble to come ready and come prepared. And I think we trust in each other to do our thing. And when we do, I think we do organically, we do a pretty good job when we feel like the train is off the tracks or something's falling off. We can look at each other and kind of adjust, and that comes with time as well. But again, it comes down to the same thing. And ultimately, what we want to do is not always have to color inside the box. You know, we're always confined and we have to do things a certain way, but we definitely don't color inside the lines. So take the liberty, take the freedom to change the music to your own. Don't sing songs that you like the artist that you're listening to. If you like a platinum song, don't sing it exactly like platinum. Sing it as your own, because ultimately you're a different artist. And that's part of making the artistry come alive.
I agree. I think one of the hard things for quartets is that has been easy for us is like our spirits are alive. Like we're all in the same head space, and spiritually we're all in the same space. And I don't necessarily mean religion-wise, but just we spend a lot of time with each other. We deliberately spend a lot of time with each other. We have difficult conversations, and we just live in this space with each other. And when you have that, you develop a level of confidence and trust within each other that it's easy to go out. Because the hardest thing to do is make music for you guys. You guys are a very smart and critical audience. You're wonderful, we love you, but you know what you like and you know what you don't like, right? And for a performer, the most important thing is to be able to engage with you and feel and receive that. Like, man, we came and we sang and you felt something from what we were doing that was genuine and real. But to get to that place is very vulnerable. But we spend a lot of time just, we're a family. We know each other real well.
We spend a lot of time.
And I think that helps. We try to have fun. We just try to be with each other because that helps in the connection of everything we do. The music, singing, it really does make a difference. So we're fortunate in that way.
Yeah, I got a question. Whenever you
I think we have one here, we'll come to you in a minute.
Okay.
My question was, I'm new to Barbershop, and actually, I don't know that much about you guys as a quartet.
I was just going to say
I think it
that.
would help, I might not be the only one here that's like that, for you guys to give us like a brief summary of where you live in the city, what do you guys do for a living other than singing,
that kind of thing? Sure.
Yes. Yeah, well,
I'm Daniel. Hi. No, my name is Daniel. I've been barbershopping since 2002, and I started in a collegiate quartet by the name of Fortissimo. I sang with another quartet by the name of Powerhouse, and then I started singing with Signature. We've been together since what, 2016 or 14? 13? Something like that. And this is the second edition of Signature. We had a baritone before Paul came into the quartet. But our quartet, we won the 2019 international contest in Utah. So that's a little bit of me and a little bit of quartet.
What do you do for a living?
Oh, what do I do for a living? Sorry. I sing for Walt Disney World in Orlando. Yeah. For the Voices of Liberty. Sorry.
The original guy.
I'm Dan. I've been doing barbershop since 2003. Originally I started at South Toronto and left in South Toronto and just to start the course up there. And then I found him in midwinter and we became friends and we sang in a couple quartets together. And he was like, hey, we're singing the quartet together. And I was like, oh, okay, where? Miami. I said, I don't live near Miami. I live 9 hours away and then moved further away. I had to drive like 13 hours when we first started getting together. It was great. But hey, we're here. I eventually moved down to Fort Lauderdale and
this guy can drive though.
I love it.
Hours.
I love it. It's wonderful. But yeah, it's been an experience. I mean, barbershop is life for me. Like this is the best hobby and lifestyle you can have because there's no other family like this. That's the one thing about barbershop that's unlike any other singing organization you'll ever be a part of. So yeah.
So myself, like everyone else, heard Dan Wall sing for the first time and said, I don't care what I'm doing, but I'm staying next to this. I don't know. We used to call you a heathen back then, but we're not going to do that to you anymore. We call him the Viking, yes, because, the beard and the whole thing. But I heard him for the first time. I was singing tenor at the time, and I said, you know what, you and I got to sing together. And we found our original baritone. I was singing tenor at the time. And I called Daniel multiple times, and reluctantly he would say, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to sing in a quartet multiple times. And we tried some other leads out. And we almost sang with somebody else, and I said to them, let me try one more time. This was months later. I said, Daniel, I really need you to hear this bass singer. You've never been able to sing lead next to a bass like this. I know he started singing tenor actually in the high school quartet as well. So I said, you've never sung next to a bass like this. You got to try it. He's like, all right, I'll come out. And we sang for 30 minutes. That's all it took. I think we sang What'll I Do from Platinum. And he was just like, okay, well, yeah, I think I could do this. This sounds like we could do something. And then the trajectory was really quick. And in 2019, we came in second for the second time. 18, we came in second for the second time. And our baritone decided, just with life and everything, he said, I can't do this anymore. The pressure's too much. It's a tremendous commitment. And so we called Paul and said, Paul, do you want to audition? And he said, the only way I can audition is if I sing tenor. And I said, well, there's a problem because I sing tenor. So it was the first time where Paul inserted his dominance in the quartet and took over everything that I had ever thought I was going to have. I'm not bitter about it or anything. No, I'm okay. No. And now I sing baritone, and they call me the dumb, stupid dum-dum. So that's we don't call him that.
My name is Paul, and I do sing tenor now. Thank you, Will. Interestingly enough, I sang with Daniel in the college quartet in 2005. Will and I went to high school together, and we've been friends for 20-something years. And I actually met Dan Walls before everybody met Dan Walls in this quartet. So I'm just saying, I'm bringing it all back together. How I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. what is interesting though is growing up in South Florida, Daniel living in West Palm and Will and I living in Miami, there was another famous quartet that won an international championship in 1961. They're called the Suntones. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, the greatest barbershop quartet that will ever live in my mind, in my book. And we were fortunate enough that we had Gene Cockcroft in Miami and Bob Franklin in Vero Beach, which is near West Palm. And Bob Franklin invested his time, the lead and tenor. And Bob Franklin invested his time in Daniel. And Gene Cockcroft took his time and helped Will and I and befriended us and encouraged us to be part of the Miamians and to sing Barbershop. And his thing was living in Miami. His dream was always, well, this is a cultural melting pot, and different people from different backgrounds only make an organization richer, especially in music, because whatever culture you have your own unique musical history, so to speak. And he said, I'd love for you to put a quartet together of people from your community and come out there and sing Barbershop, but do it in your own way. And he's no longer with us, but we really do believe we are the manifestation of a dream he had, which was to bring young people that look like us and bring our cultures together and be the best in Barbershop one day. And, his legacy, we feel like we carry it with us, but that's a big part of how we all got into Barbershop and ultimately we're able to be connected. Yesterday we did something real special. We went down to Brownsville, Texas to sing and to see so many faces that look like ours. And the quality with which they sang this Barbershop, it was really powerful. So the work that, the BHS and the AIC and Harmony Foundation, they're doing some great work to keep this art form alive, because as Dan said, it really is a special and beautiful thing. And it was the friendships and the kindness of others who were willing to pay it forward that helped create Signature and now have what we have now. So.
Well, we stole Paul from another quartet.
All right, we're not going to go there, and we're not going to talk about it. Okay? I have been ridiculed enough, and I'm done. I'm about to get real Miami in here. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Sorry, Becky.
I was just going to ask, like through the years, you guys individually singing Barbershop, and then y'all forming a Signature. Is there any like light bulb kind of moments where you felt like y'all kind of grabbed a new gear and scores were going higher? And y'all like, is there anything that you could point to that was, this is when we really kind of, really were able to advance and really able to grow? Or was it very just, like, is there not a moment where that happened?
I think there was. I think there was. So we had, I'll say, and I'm pretty sure elaborate on it. We had. Speaking about Gene Cockcroft, when the quartet started, Gene said something very important to us. He asked us who were we, and what does Signature mean? But he instilled in us before he passed away, to find out who we were and what we wanted the world to know about us, and what we wanted the world to know who we were, and it became our point. That's why our music changed. That's what I think for the quartet was a big change for us, when we started doing things that we could relate to, and which on the flip side of that, and I mentioned this again today in my class that I had, one of the hardest things to do for this audience is come out with something that's brand new, that you don't know how people are going to accept it. But we knew as a foursome in the quartet, at least the three of us, and even with Paul with the new songs that we did, is that we loved the music that we did, and so it elevated what we did when we opened our mouths. So I think Will can speak on a little bit of that as well too, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think there are certain milestones that we have when you're asking about specific moments. One of them was when we sang Sam Cooke's A Change Is Gonna Come. That was the first song that we sang that was our arrangement. The year before, we sang Drown in My Own Tears, I think. Or no, we sang it at prelims. And this was a song that another champ quartet had sang called Masterpiece. And we picked it up, again, a Ray Charles song, just because we thought Daniel could really connect to it. We asked, he's like, yeah, I would love to sing the song. So we picked it up and we started singing it. And this was a moment where it was like a rite of passage thing where Brett Littlefield, another iconic bass, if you all know Brett's voice, comes up to Dan after we sang it at contest and says, you know, that's now your song. You guys enjoy it. And it was kind of like passing of the torch, again, another very generous and loving gesture by a barbershopper to us, who's now a very close friend. And that was our opportunity to say, hey, well, we can start singing music that we grew up singing, and let's explore that. And then we came up with Change Is Gonna Come, and Change Is Gonna Come is a very poignant song. And it was we had a moment right before the night that we premiered it where Daniel and I were actually at a sports bar on the corner, and we were
Hooters.
IMPC, obviously he is not. So I was, why'd you have to put it out there like that? Yes. So we were at a facility having food, and we hear this ruckus from the outside, like seriously. And Daniel and I stand outside, we walk outside, and we're standing on the corner. Daniel and I'm hugging Daniel, and we're crying, and there's a march coming down the street for Black Lives Matter, and it's coming out specifically. And this is all when, like, there's a big head and there's a lot of divisiveness and everybody's at each other's throats, right? And it's right during that time. And the next day we're singing that song, we're debuting. And it was just a moment, I think, for us where it was like, no matter what happens tomorrow, no matter what the score says, we know that what we're singing is important. We know that it's music that we enjoy, and we just have to be okay with being ourselves. And I think that was our first moment because we did get a good reception from it. When Daniel opened his mouth, it was like, oh, okay, we're okay. And then that allowed us to kind of get through the rest of the week. And I think that was the first pivotal moment of us getting a score, because we went from 15th, when we sang that, we went from 15th to 4th, which was a huge jump. And then it was 15-4, 2, and then I had to switch for you, and now I'm here, having a look at you forever. Ugh.
I love you too.
Could y'all maybe talk a little bit about, like, on the technical aspect, how you structure a practice, like when you were getting ready for contest, and kind of what you did to make sure that was as productive as you could, just for some of us new guys here?
Well, we definitely had some obstacles because Daniel was singing in candlelight. So that first 3 months when we started, he was in Orlando and we were in Miami, and we were not getting together except for the trio. So we spent a lot of time as a trio just working through all the little sections, all the little pieces, all the little technical parts of it. And being able to sing it without Daniel, knowing where he's at, and doing those trios as we're learning the music and working through it, we became very familiar with what the other parts are doing. And I think when you think of like instrumentalists who play, I feel like they're so aware of not just what they're doing, but what everybody's doing. And I think as vocalists sometimes, especially in ensembles, we get caught up, I'm going to sing my part and this and that, but there's so much more to it. It's singing your part and finding the balance and tuning the chords and creating, color to help the lead tell his story or to engage with the baritone. There's all these pieces. And so that trio work really helped us become aware of the holistic, all parts of the music. And then when Daniel came in, who has such a very natural way of just, all right, I know exactly where I'm going to go with this and what I'm going to do, because we had that confidence in the core of the trio, it was very easy to start to make everything gel. So for us, that was, we do that still today because Daniel's in Orlando. We make sure that the trio is as tight as possible. We break things down. We'll duet with the bass and the tenor. We'll duet with tenor and baritone, and we'll do that. And that really makes a huge difference for us, that when we see Daniel, there isn't a whole lot of massaging to be done.
Do y'all still have to work on, like, sounding the same vowels? And all that stuff?
That stuff, so the one thing that we did do and the one thing that we established, and we still do to this day, is those things, that's the basic stuff that we always are thinking about. We're always thinking about intonation. We're always thinking about matching vowels, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's always something that's always at the top of the list of anything that we do. You know, we rehearse those things, so when we get together, we actually are working on more performance. Everybody has an individual responsibility for those things to be taken care of in their position. Now, if we're singing through something and there's a mismatch in a vowel, then we stop. That's the tedious work in the rehearsals that we have. We'll stop and say, this isn't ringing.
So it will happen from time to time on a new piece of music. We'll have to realign, or we're doing something and we're like, we don't like the way that sounds. How can we make that better? But you definitely get used to finding that lock. We'll like to call it calibration now. Let's get together before we get to sing, spend 20 minutes just being very mindful about everything that's going on so we can calibrate. That happens still regularly, but it's not like hours of that.
Right, because I think in this setting, once you get to a certain level, once you get into a certain level of doing this here, even our coaches have said, it's not that you all are singing out of tune, it is the vowels, because sometimes with this here, that's what it's about. But the individual, and I stress this again in my session I had today, individual responsibility is a big thing. Notes and words are something we try not to work on those things when we get together. We try to focus on the other things when we get together because it is tedious work. That's the thing, you know. We don't just get together and rep through songs. We get through and do sections and make sure things are lining up the way they should. Make sure phrases. Right.
We can rephrase something because now the music evolves, it changes.
Yeah, and we do.
Record your sessions and go back and listen. I mean, it's one of the most uncomfortable things we do as singers is listen to our own voices, but it's the resource that's probably the most underused.
Record yourselves, record your ensemble work. I mean, sometimes we'll record the trio, we'll send it over to Daniel so he hears what we're doing. There's a lot of that that goes into it.
Listening to yourself is a useful tool.
Absolutely.
It's very hard to do.
Yes.
It's not easy.
How long would y'all practice normally, like when you do concerts?
Three to 4 hours, yeah.
When we were on the run to international, we
rehearsed 2 to 3 times.
2 or 3 times a week,
for about
3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
But we only had 10 months.
But the other side of that too, because every quartet is different, you have to learn what the quartet needs. You know what I mean? Some quartets probably doesn't need that long, and some quartets do. You know, but that goes behind the simple putting in the work. You know what I mean? Like the work is different for everybody. You just need to know what the quartet needs. You know, I think for us, we did it because we were in a position where we had switched out 2 voice parts, and I wasn't with them for a certain amount of time that we knew we were going to need to spend a good amount of time together making sure things were lining up. You know, it never got easier either. We were crazy enough to pick up a brand new coach, a month before we went to international, and the blessing that she was to this quartet, and just centering us on the performance aspect because we had worked so hard on those other things and lining them up. I mean, it's really, I feel like what propelled us to where we were because we weren't even thinking about the technical stuff anymore. She was getting us out of our own way, and you know, she looked at me and said, "Tell me the story," you know. She, you know, and called me the wrong name every time. I love her to death. I love her, but no, you know, it's a lot of work, but you can get there. But it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen in, you know, 1 or 2 rehearsals.
And it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there, right? We always say, it doesn't matter when we do a rehearsal, because what we're working for is the product we're going to provide to you.
We had a question back here, sorry.
Based on what you've seen so far in your experience yesterday, what do you feel is the biggest need for chapters to do to reach the young folks now to get them where we need them to be in 2 to 4 years? Based on what you saw yesterday and experience for our next gen.
Don't preach to the kids. Just create a space that they can cohabitate, they can come in and be themselves inside the space that we've created for them. I think as barbershoppers, it's our responsibility to create the safe space that gives them an opportunity to come in and explore as musicians, as singers, and to feel comfortable and feel safe. I know that that's what drew us back, is having mentorship and having those opportunities and fellowship, but also giving us space to be ourselves and create and learn. And if it was that we wanted to do something, they'd say, okay, well, we'll arrange it for you, or we'll get it arranged for you. What do you want to do? What do you want to sing?
I mean, chapter engagement, and I don't know, Gene may have been ahead of his time just because of where he lived and the type of community, so he understood that. But, you know, the Miamians and the Coastmen and even Sunshine Cordsmen, all of those choruses in that Tri-County area, they did a really good job of having a lot of opportunities for young people to come in and engage and sing in tags, or, you know, be part of a novice contest and be rewarded. And kids appreciate that, right? They enjoy that. So they did a really good job of having that, or hey, we're gonna get your quartet to come sing on our show and be the headliner. You know how many times our high school quartet was a headliner on a show? That type of stuff has an impact on the kids, right? So, but there has to be a lot of emphasis on that. And the challenge is that you still want to honor the current members and making sure that those gentlemen and those ladies are getting what they want in their meetings. But a lot of effort and focus has to be put on, you know, finding ways to engage the youth and having opportunities for them to have that success and feel good. I know that for us, that was a big thing.
Yeah, something we saw yesterday was 110 kids on stage, and I asked the question, I said, how many Latino and Hispanic kids are on this stage? And I would say probably 95% of them raised their hand.
Yeah.
And we started the show with a song called Cielito Lindo, which culturally is really sung by mariachi. It's a very famous old Mexican
iconic
song. Yeah. And they sang that as an opener. And we asked them, I said, you know, how many of you are going to have family in here in the audience that are going to hear this, or that have sung the song to you, or that are familiar with the song, or are you familiar with the song? Again, most of them raised their hands. So it was really about, that was a touching moment, I think, where we had an opportunity to connect culturally on. They sang a piece of music that was in Spanish, but it was arranged directly in Barbershop by Steve Tramack, which he did a great job with. And they all knew it. And that was the opening number that just propelled us to sing other stuff. And then we sang Dream Lover, which was a lot of fun. And what was the other one that we sang with them? Oh, and we ended the show with Keep the Whole We're Singing, which is a song that, you know, Barbershop song that we all do. Again, SATB, because of the spread voices and everybody that we had there yesterday. But you had 110 kids screaming for songs, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, and screaming for Signature and screaming for Daddy Chocolate like we were at a rock concert. I mean, it was like, it was surreal. I mean, they were yelling at the top of their lungs. It was something to see. And that excitement, I think, for me, just goes to show that regardless, I know you're asking questions like, well, what can we do more? I think we're doing a lot of it now. We just need to stay consistent.
Consistency is the big part of it. The follow-up, right? You go in there and you send in a champ quartet, they get excited, whatever they see. But if a year goes by and there's nobody from the local chapter that potentially, one of the leadership that's engaging with AIC with their materials and whatnot, and giving coaching and encouraging, we have that. We had 3 quartets in our high school, 2 male quartets and a female quartet, and a lot of that was driven by the consistency of Gene Cockcroft coming and making relationships. So that's important, that follow-up, that consistency. So.
And the one thing I would say is just the music as well too.
Yes.
The music is important. I think, you know, I don't think people realize it sometimes, but music not only moves people, but it drives people to be drawn in. So, you know, when you're choosing these things, or you have the opportunity to bring children in or do things on that level, think about what you're giving the kids to sing. Is it going to be exciting for them? Something that's memorable. I mean, you know, one of the first songs I learned back in 2002, believe it or not, was in my room, and I love that freaking song. And I mean, for me at that time in my life, it was a big reason why I continued to do this. And something like Coney Island, I don't think those songs are as reachable to the children we have these days. But there's a lot of music out there that's accessible, that will bring that excitement from the kids. And so, just being really thoughtful about how we're going in, and also the teacher connection, I think, is a big thing as well too. We can get more teachers involved in doing what we do, like here, to be here. The one teacher that we were dealing with, his name was Jason, and his first event was Harmony University. And from Harmony University,
In 2019.
yes, he was so excited that he went back and he literally infected Barbershop into all the schools in his area.
Terrible word, infected.
Yeah.
Well,
Use a different word,
well,
guy.
and I'm sorry.
Infection.
But the reason why I say that is because the kids were at such a high caliber of Barbershop, not only from the teaching that they got
Yeah,
from
it was really incredible.
their teachers, but they were passionate about Barbershop.
And yesterday was their first event that he was hosting, and the person, which he shared with us later, he posted it on his Facebook. The person he put together, he went to Harmony U with, that was the catalyst. That person actually passed away. So he was running this solely on his own. He's like, I almost gave up Barbershop, I almost gave up teaching, I almost gave up everything. Here I am a year later putting this on. We had 110 kids. He's like, this couldn't have gone any better. And it was a moment. Thanks to Dennis, who's in the back, Castiglione. The power, and Power of Harmony and the program and all the great work and resources that they're giving to the kids as well. There's music for the kids to learn, free tracks, and we've been able to send that stuff out to them. And I think that after the interactions, they get excited, but again, it's the same thing. What are we doing next? What are we following up with,
I think Dennis had something, yeah.
Yeah, just two things. One is that the grant for AIC Outreach that brought you here was actually awarded a year and a half ago, but your schedule didn't fit Southwestern District's schedule. They waited a year and a half till they could align with you because they knew they wanted you where you were yesterday. So you were singing and working.
At the border is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Perfect. Wonderful.
It was quite terrifying, though. We took a picture next to one of
I
the
couldn't believe I saw the wall. I don't even know how to feel about it. I'm so...
That's first. The second piece is that those, and kind of a additional answer to your question, those music educators are the key. You brought music to them, and obviously Men of Color brought to them. They said, I can relate to this. Oh, I like that music a lot. That's going to work. So the music selection was key. Who we put in front of them was key. And the third piece was that there's been a lot of spade work done to get music educators on board. Jason and Katie, 10 schools. Yeah, 10 schools. By the way, 150 is what Katie counted.
Oh, I
should 110.
I'm sorry, I was
no.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about that now, about 110 or so. She said 150 is what you counted. So I can tell you, we've been doing this since 2022. It's the biggest project we've ever had and the most successful by every measurement because of what you did and how the kids responded to you. I mean, my heart goes out to Dave.
I'm just saying this because it's on my heart. We're very passionate about this. We were given this by people that we didn't know were greats in this society. And it's a very passionate thing for us to be able to go out and minister to the children that we have. I just hope that we all can have open hearts. And when these folks when people come around, that we just accept everybody and accept the music and everything, because we're all doing one thing. We're all loving music and enjoying each other's company. So let's keep the whole world singing.
Any other questions?
Sing some more.
The song that we were going to do.
That one.
Did you sing one of the ones you did yesterday?
Huh?
Did you already sing one of the ones you did yesterday?
We sang Joyful on their show yesterday.
Yeah, the songs we learned with them, we were...
Oh, one of the songs we sang with the kids?
Yeah, I'm in the process of learning a lot of music. I don't remember it.
We learned it just for that, we sang it for them.
I learned it very well. What do you think? It was fun.
No, because until you learn my lyrics, I'm not going to sing it with you.
I learned it.
You did okay.
I learned it pretty well. Let's do this.
If a picture paints 1,000 words, then why can't I paint you? The words would never show the you I've come to know. If a face could launch 1,000 ships, and where am I to go? There's no one home but you. You're all that's left me to. And when my love for life is running dry, you come and pour yourself on me. If a man could be 2 places at one time, I'd be with you tomorrow and today, beside you all the way. If the world should stop revolving, spinning slowly down to die, I'd spend the end with you. And when the world was through, then one by one, the stars would all go out. Then you and I would still be flying
So which one are we doing now?
We'll do that one. This is-
Oh, so we're not done?
Yeah, you know the intro, right?
Yeah.
The short one.
The whole thing? Okay, sorry. We just changed the intro, so I guess. Yeah. All right.
That's fine, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, which is. Let's go. Here we go.
much.